It's 10 o'clock. This is Sky News at 10, our top story. He was a friend to everyone. Tributes to Liverpool's Diogo Jota after his death in a car crash. There's shock on Merseyside at the loss of a beloved striker. And heartbreak in Jota's home city at the death of one of its sons just days after his wedding. Also tonight, smiling after the tears, the Chancellor explains why she cried in the Commons.
Clearly I was upset yesterday, and everyone could see that. It was a personal issue, and I'm not going to go into the details of that.
But a new headache for the Labour leadership as an MP quits the party to start a new one with Jeremy Corbyn. As dozens of people are killed near aid centres in Gaza, we investigate why deaths are spiking where supplies are handed out. Iran tells Sky News there's still a chance for direct peace talks with the United States. And a special report from inside the devastating zombie drug dens destroying lives in West Africa. Plus, we'll take a first look at tomorrow's front pages in our press preview from 10:30 right through to midnight. Good evening. He was a loved one to all of us. The words of Liverpool manager Arne Slot in tribute to striker Diogo Jota, who died late last night in a car crash. Jota had married his long-term partner just 11 days before the Lamborghini carrying him and his brother veered off a road in northwestern Spain and burst into flames. In a moment, we'll be live at Anfield and in Jota's home city of Porto. But first, Sky's Greg Milam has this report.
This is the last that Liverpool fans saw of Diogo Jota on the Anfield pitch, lifting the Premier League trophy, a celebration forever now, the most poignant of memories. Just a month later, his life ended here on a Spanish road. Police are investigating how the Lamborghini he was in with his brother came to crash and burst into flames in the early hours. It is only 10 days since Jota married his longtime partner. The couple had 3 young children. Yes to forever, his new wife had posted. And at the place where they once worshipped him, now they came to mourn. Where a few weeks ago, thousands had come to parade in celebration of that Premier League success, now growing tributes. The club's short statement said it was devastated at what it described as an unimaginable loss, a loss felt intensely by those fans.
The way he played football with a smile on his face all the time, he was the epitome of enjoying what you do. Every time he went out on the pitch, he gave us all for us. And
things are more important than football, and this certainly is more important than football.
It's heartbreaking, and I just can't describe it. It's hurting inside. I know he's not family, but he is family.
The Deputy Prime Minister was among those who came to lay flowers.
It is absolutely heartbreaking and just shows how life events can change really quickly. And, you know, I'm absolutely devastated for his wife and his children and his family. I can't imagine what they're going through at the moment.
And from football and beyond, there have been so many tributes. Prince William, the patron of the Football Association, wrote, "As part of the footballing family, I'm deeply saddened to hear of the passing of Diogo Jota and his brother. Our thoughts are with his family, friends and all who knew him." Jurgen Klopp, the manager who brought Jota to Liverpool, wrote that he was heartbroken. Diogo was not only a fantastic player, but also a great friend, a loving and caring husband and father. "We will miss you so much," he said. And in a statement, the current Liverpool manager, Arne Slot, said, "All I have are feelings that I know so many people will share about a person and a player we love dearly and a family we care so much about. When the time is right, we will celebrate Diogo Jota. We'll remember his goals and we'll sing his song. For the time being, we'll remember him as a unique human being and mourn his loss. He will never be forgotten." Liverpool's players will return for pre-season training in the coming days. There are those who would like to see Jota's number 20 shirt retired as a lasting tribute to his contribution to the club. This is a football club and a city that knows how tragedies go way beyond football. However Diogo Jota is honoured, he is gone with the gratitude of millions, as a man who, in their eyes, will always be a champion. Greg Milam, Sky News, Liverpool.
Well, in a moment, we'll go to Diogo Jota's home city of Porto and our sports correspondent, Rob Harris. But first to Anfield and our national correspondent, Tom Parmenter, and Anfield and Liverpool in mourning tonight, Tom. And behind you, we see a steady stream of people coming along to pay their respects.
Yeah, above all, this is a family tragedy that has cut through the tribalisms of football. And it has been very moving to see so many families bringing their children, quite often still in their school uniform, to see this growing sea of tributes outside Anfield. Many just laying scarves or flowers, some of those children laying down their small Liverpool shirts, quite often with the number 20 on their backs. And he was known as such a good professional, someone who really connected with the fans in his 5 years at this football club and was a winner who contributed so much, coming up with those key goals at key moments in those seasons. And it is a sense of numbness, really, that has been so evident here today. And we've heard from many of his teammates through the course of this day, and one of them, I think, stands out as a very deeply personal tribute, and that comes from the Scotland captain Andy Robertson, the left back here at Liverpool. And he said, "The last time I saw him was the happiest day of his life, his wedding day. I want to remember his never ceasing smile from that magical day, how much he was bursting with love for his wife and family. I can't believe we're saying goodbye. It's too soon and it hurts so much." We've been hearing the fans singing that song that celebrates Diogo Jota so much outside Anfield here tonight, and there will be a time when they work out exactly how they will remember the Portugal forward. Undoubtedly that song will be part of his legacy, but for now it is an open-air vigil that is still continuing, will continue for many days, for two brothers, one of which made a huge impression on this city, and the people of Merseyside have promised his family that they will not walk alone through this moment of intense pain.
Tom, thank you. And let's cross to Rob Harris. You're in Porto, his home city tonight. What are some of the tributes that you've heard from the people there?
Well, this is where the journey to stardom began, in the humble surroundings of Gondomar, a lower league club, where perhaps Diogo Jota never dreamed really being able to make it to the top. He was paying to play here as a teenager, and so many people around here are now coming to lay scarves, flowers and place candles at the Academy building named after Jota behind me. And that sense of shock has been most profoundly felt by some of those who played alongside Jota. And I've been speaking to one of his former teammates here, Miguel Rocha.
The first thought is, wow, this can be real. The way it is, in a car accident, so young, just got married, just got the Premier League, the Nations League. It was shocking.
Reflecting on weeks that delivered some of the happiest moments in Jota's life. His last match for Liverpool saw him lift the Premier League trophy. His last match for Portugal just weeks ago saw him win a second trophy with Portugal, the Nations League, bringing so much joy to this country. And then, of course, he got married to his childhood sweetheart with their 3 children there at the ceremony. But now this is a country in mourning, not only for Diogo Jota, but also Andre Silva, his brother, who also used to play at this club. And there's so many come into the night paying their tributes. They're just remembering the selflessness of the footballer who won it all in England, the FA Cup, the League Cup and the Premier League, having come from such modest surroundings and really had to fight his way in the game. But he certainly achieved so much, but this is a career and a life so tragically now cut short.
Yes, Rob, thank you. Truly a shocking story. The Chancellor has insisted that she's focused on cracking on with her job after being seen in tears in the House of Commons yesterday. Rachel Reeves says she was dealing with a private matter which had nothing to do with the fallout from this week's U-turn on welfare reforms or a lack of support from Sir Keir Starmer.
clearly I was upset yesterday, and everyone could see that. It was a personal issue, and I'm not going to go into the details of that. But my job as Chancellor at 12 o'clock on a Wednesday is to be at PMQs next to the Prime Minister, supporting the government, and that's what I try to do. I guess the thing that maybe is a bit different between my job and many of your viewers is that when I'm having a tough day, it's on the telly, and most people don't have to deal with that.
That is certainly true. I mean, it's said there was an altercation between you and the Speaker, or there's also a story about potentially a conversation with someone else in the government before that happened. Is that true? No. It was a personal issue. And I'm not going to go into the details of that. That's not. That wouldn't be right or fair. People saw I was upset, but that was yesterday, and today is a new day, and I'm just cracking on with the job.
Well, the Prime Minister insisted today that the Chancellor will be taking decisions for many years to come. Sir Keir Starmer told our political editor, Beth Rigby, he hadn't realised Rachel Reeves was crying during Prime Minister's questions.
Chancellor, first, it's really good to see you today. It's really good to see you here. But, Prime Minister, I have to ask you, on a human level, people were shocked and baffled that in the Commons yesterday you did not offer your Chancellor your support. Was it because you didn't see what was happening, or did you not know what to do? Thank you.
Well, Beth, let me just clear that up straight away. I didn't appreciate what was happening because, as you'll probably appreciate, the PMQs is pretty wired. It goes from question to question, and I'm literally up, down, question, looking at who's asking me a question, thinking about my response and getting up and answering it. And so it wasn't just yesterday. No Prime Minister ever has had side conversations during PMQs. It does happen in other debates when there's a bit more time, but in PMQs, it is bang, bang, bang. That's what it was yesterday, and therefore I was probably the last to appreciate anything else going on in the chamber. That's just a straightforward human explanation. Common sense explanation, if you like.
Let's go live to Westminster now and our political correspondent, Rob Powell. Rob, the Labour Party thinking perhaps they'd drawn a line under their troubles this week, but tonight a new one is emerging.
Yeah, I think the government thought pretty hard about how to address what flowed from Rachel Reeves' appearance at PMQs yesterday. This wasn't an appearance we were expecting today from the Chancellor. She looked smiley, she looked fresh-faced. I thought she dealt with those questions pretty well. So I think this may well be enough to draw a line under this episode of this anyway, and to do away with some of the fuss around whether Rachel Reeves will stay in her job. That said, I think it's still a fair question to ask why she was on the front bench when she was so clearly distressed about something, given that these were essentially tears that moved markets and increased the cost of government borrowing. But in a funny sort of way, you can sort of see how Rachel Reeves, in one way, comes out of this slightly strengthened, because I think next time you have speculation about whether she stays in her job, say Labour rebels start to talk about whether she should be junking the rules that she uses to set borrowing and spending limits, well, Downing Street can look at events of yesterday and say, hey, look what happened on the markets when they thought Rachel Reeves was going. She's key to fiscal stability, so she needs to stay. That said, I think images like that do last a long time in the memory, especially when you have so many big problems to deal with, especially come the budget in the autumn, and especially when you have so many people trying to take chunks out of the government. And this evening, as you say, a new indication of a new grouping that wants to take chunks out of the government. The left-wing MP for Coventry South, Zara Sultana, elected as a Labour MP but kicked out as a Labour MP, or suspended as a Labour MP last year over rebelling against the government on benefits. She has announced this evening that she is starting a new party which she will co-lead with the former Labour leader, also now an independent, Jeremy Corbyn. She's posted a statement online saying, today after 14 years I'm resigning from the Labour Party. Jeremy Corbyn and I will co-lead the founding of a new party with other independent MPs, campaigners and activists across the country. I mean, a fairly low-key announcement for a new party. I think you'd expect something more than maybe a post online. And actually, we haven't as yet heard anything from Jeremy Corbyn about this, with even a suggestion from one newspaper that he may have not yet fully agreed to sign up to this party. But I think if it does get off the ground, it could potentially cause problems for Keir Starmer and Labour if you have a more organised group that maybe takes in some of the independent MPs we saw defeat Labour at the last election, quite often standing on a very pro-Palestine mandate and pitch. If they are grouped together into a more organised structure, you could see that as a way to hoover up left-wing voters that feel let down on, say, the government's approach to welfare spending and also to foreign policy, most notably on Gaza and the Middle East. So you can see how Sir Keir Starmer is almost a bit surrounded here. On the one side, he's got Nigel Farage and Reform, and now on the other side, he has got people pitching from the left as well. Reform is still the bigger threat, being no doubt about that, but it's an unwelcome problem for a Prime Minister that has enough of them already.
Rob, thank you. Donald Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill that will cut taxes and increase spending has been voted through by politicians in the United States.
The yeas are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted.
The legislation is narrowly passed in the Republican-controlled House of Representatives. The bill reduces healthcare and environmental spending while increasing budgets for mass deportations and a border wall. The president plans to sign it into law tomorrow. And let's take you to President Trump speaking live now at Joint Base Andrews.
We're all there together with I think most Republican senators and congressmen and women, and it's going to be a great day. So we'll be signing with those beautiful planes flying right over our heads. All right? Well, we're going to see. Steve is a great guy. He's a great negotiator. Iran does want to speak, and I think they'd like to speak to me. And it's time that they do. We're not looking to hurt them. We're looking to let them be a country again. They got beat up, and, you know, they were both exhausted, frankly. But Iran really got beat up, and I think they want to meet. I mean, I know they want to meet, and if it's necessary, I'll do it. But Steve is involved and very much involved, and he's done a fantastic job. All right, one more.
President, on Gaza, do you still want the U.S. to take over Gaza as a part of a peace?
I want the people of Gaza to be safe, more importantly.
So that's
I want to see safety for the people of Gaza. They've gone through hell. Thank you very much, everybody.
OK, Donald Trump there just speaking on the passing of his Big Beautiful Bill, but he did go on to speak about Iran, saying that they do want to speak, and he thinks that they want to speak to him. Iran got beat up, he said. I know they want to meet, and if necessary, I'll do it. Also wanting peace for the people of Gaza. Well, staying with Gaza now, and officials say 94 people have been killed in airstrikes and shooting incidents. The Hamas-run health ministry and local hospitals say 45 of those killed had been trying to access humanitarian aid. 5 of them are reported to have died close to sites associated with a controversial group called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. New data analysis by Sky News suggests that the number of civilian deaths in Gaza increases when more aid is distributed by GHF. The US and Israeli-backed organisation has been primarily responsible for providing supplies since Israel lifted its blockade last month. Our data and forensics correspondent Tom Cheshire has more.
The aid points run by Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, GHF, are controversial. Critics call them death traps. The IDF says it is examining reports of civilians being harmed, and GHF itself says there have been no incidents or fatalities at or near its sites, and that this is all Hamas disinformation. So we've got incidents, reports, disinformation. But we have found a clear pattern in the data that shows that Palestinian deaths increase when GHF sites are open. This is what we're talking about. This footage is of an incident near the Netzarim corridor. Shows people taking cover from gunfire in the middle of Gaza last week. We've geolocated the instance near a GHF site over here, and we've done the same for multiple other incidents where fatalities were reported. As of July the 2nd, the Gaza Health Ministry, run by Hamas, has said that 600 people have been killed. Israel and GHF say that this is disinformation, claiming that no one has died at these aid sites. But we've analysed the reports of deaths and injuries on the days that the aid sites have been open, and we found that deaths and injuries in Gaza are higher on days when more of the GHF aid sites are operational. In other words, when more sites are open, more people die. You can see that here. On days when the GHF conducts just 2 distributions or fewer, health officials report an average of 48 deaths in red and 189 injuries in yellow. But if we look at days with 5 or 6 GHF distributions, authorities have reported almost 3 times as many casualties, this chart over here. We also found that, on average, 30% of aid distributions have ended in violence. Between the 8th of June and the 1st of July, there were 77 distributions across GHF's 4 sites. You can see those marks over here, SDS's secure distribution sites. Now, 23 of those distributions, at least, there were reports of fatal shootings. That gives us that average of 30%. We've also spoken to eyewitnesses, including Huda Abu Salim.
All along the way, you're hiding. You hide here, then run, then hide again. At any moment, they might shoot you. You might make it back, or you might not. I witnessed death firsthand. Bodies lay bleeding on the ground all around me. This is not right. Food should be delivered to UN warehouses, and this entire operation must be shut down.
We asked the IDF for comment, and this is what they said. The IDF did not instruct the forces to deliberately shoot at civilians, including those approaching distribution centres. To be clear, IDF directives prohibit deliberate attacks on civilians. They also added, in light of reports of incidents of harm to the civilians approaching the distribution centres, the incidents are being examined by the relevant IDF authorities, and further action will be taken as necessary. Recently, over 200 NGOs have signed a letter calling for immediate action to end the GHF scheme, which they say is led by Israel, and to go back to the existing UN-led coordination mechanisms.
Well, we just heard President Trump say a few moments ago that he believes Iran wants to talk to the United States. And a senior official in Iran told Sky News today that there is still chance for peace talks with America. The spokesman for Iran's foreign ministry said that despite the recent conflict with the US and Israel, back-channel efforts are underway to restart the search for a diplomatic solution. Our international affairs editor, Dominic Waghorn, is in Tehran and sent this report.
A residential building in a civilian area, but still on Israel's target list. Hit by an airstrike like so many across Tehran. Israelis may have been trying to kill a nuclear scientist here, it's not clear. But there's no doubt about the extent of the damage they did.
The Israelis talk about precision targeting a lot, but this is the reality of their airstrikes. This missile has come in here and devastated this floor, but the floors above and below, and right over there, a couple of buildings away, it's blasted in the windows and ripped off the cladding. As you can see, the explosion has just torn a hole right the way through the floor here, and the floors below, down to the ground floor. An engineer we've spoken to just now says the entire structure will probably have to be torn down and built again.
Residents wouldn't talk on camera, but told us they were devastated at the loss of their homes. Over the street, they're replacing the windows and counting themselves lucky they weren't here when the airstrike came in.
If she had been here, which she is most of the time, even with her child, I think the damage wouldn't have been replaceable.
She would have been very badly hurt.
Yeah, and it's really scary.
The Iranian government has released this footage it says is of another airstrike. Cars lifted in the air in scenes from a disaster movie. Iran is reeling from all this, wary of what comes next.
Because people are very much outraged about what happened.
And letting in very few journalists.
Less than a year-old boy.
At the Foreign Ministry, they showed us pictures of Israel's civilian victims, dead women and children. And its spokesman condemned Israel and America for their deaths.
You Londoners or you Brits, you have your own blitz. And I think what happened for 12 long days was a kind of unprovoked surprise aggression against Iranians. They killed many Iranians. Close to 1,000 people lost their lives in this vicious act of war that was imposed on our nation.
Despite that, though, he revealed Iran is exploring the possibility of talking to America again.
I know there are contacts indirectly. My minister is talking to Oman, Qatar, and others. So, as I said, diplomacy never ends.
The Iranian government is immortalising this war already and staying defiant in public, but preparing to talk to one of its two enemies and salvage what it can from this crisis. Dominic Waghorn, Sky News, Tehran.
The UK is thought to be one of the main sources of a devastating drug destroying countless lives across West Africa. The substance known as Kush is highly addictive and increasingly affordable. Dozens of communities are finding themselves caught in a Kush epidemic. And our Africa correspondent, Yusra El-Bagir, has spoken to those at the epicentre of the crisis in Sierra Leone. A warning, her report shows people suffering from malnutrition and sores, which you may find distressing.
It's a temporary escape with a brutal come down.
Kush looks like marijuana, but can be 25 times stronger than fentanyl, making zombies out of men and women in Sierra Leone. This synthetic drug is creating an underworld in plain sight and rapidly spreading across West Africa.
It's suffering, but all the thing we tell you now, we need help. All is it, we need help. We need help.
The conditions of the people here are as haunting as their home, a den of deprivation and disease.
There's this shared sense of pain and entrapment, and everyone coming in and out is connected through their addiction to Kush. And they've all told us that they want to quit, but as long as they stay here, they'll never break free.
Elizabeth is 24 years old and pregnant with her second child, but can't bring herself to give up Kush as long as she stays here.
Elizabeth, does it feel like a risk to smoke Kush while you're pregnant? Why are you taking the risk?
I keep smoking it because it makes me forget about my worries and challenges.
The numbness of the high has worn off, and she can't hold back her pain. These are not the fringes of Freetown, but a place for people of all ages, caught in the clutches of Kush.
This drug is evil. This drug is bad. I don't know why they gave me this drug in this country.
But where is Kush coming from? This container has come from a high-risk import country to Freetown's port. Shipments from the UK, EU, and South America need to be searched for Kush ingredients.
To be Kush.
And this one fits the bill.
The initial testing shows that there are Kush items as well as acetone, which are also used in the processing of Kush.
And where have they been shipped from?
They've been shipped from the United Kingdom.
The UK is part of a transnational Kush trade that is sending teenagers to seek shelter among these shacks, to heal from sores eating away at their limbs from smoking the drug. Some are paralyzed by infection and malnutrition, lying in stalls where others have died before. The rest are debilitated.
Does it hurt?
Abu Bakr is only 14 years old and was handed his first Kush joint at 12. He's been fighting for his life ever since.
When was the last time you walked?
Long time.
Are they still smoking Kush?
Yeah, upset they still smoke.
Even with all this pain? And
all this pain we didn't get, they still smoke.
It's a prison with an open door and a captor that has stripped them of everything they need to survive. Yusra El-Bagir, Sky News, Sierra Leone.
The Hollywood actor Michael Madsen, best known for his role in Quentin Tarantino's debut movie, Reservoir Dogs, has died aged 67.
If they hadn't done what I told them not to do, they'd still be alive.
Authorities say they found the star unresponsive at his California home after responding to a 911 call. He appeared in several other Tarantino films, including Kill Bill, The Hateful Eight, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. To Wimbledon now, where the British #1, Jack Draper, has lost in the second round for the third year running. Draper was the 4th seed in this year's tournament, but faced a tough match against the beaten 2017 finalist Marin Cilic. The 36-year-old raced into a 2-set lead on court 1. And even though Draper won the third set 6-1, he was comprehensively beaten by the world number 83. Draper isn't alone in suffering a disappointing early exit. 9 men's seeds are now out of the competition. Dan Evans faced 7-time champion Novak Djokovic. Both have struggled with form and injuries in recent times. And despite Evans' best efforts, it was Djokovic who came out on top. The Serb won his 99th match at Wimbledon, 6-3, 6-2, 6-love. Arthur Ferry, serving here, couldn't repeat his heroics on day 1 of Wimbledon when he eliminated 20th seed Alexei Popyrin. Luciano Darderi was too strong for the British wildcard as the Italian made it into the third round of a Grand Slam for the first time. And Jack Pennington-Jones at the top here was beaten by Flavio Cobolli. He had a chance to win the second set when leading 3-love and 5-4 in the tie-break. But the Italian fought back as the British wildcard's Wimbledon debut came to an end. Emma Raducanu, Sonny Kartal and Cameron Norrie are in action tomorrow. That was Sky News at 10 and the tennis scores. Coming up, we'll take a first look at tomorrow's newspapers in the press preview. Tonight, we're joined by the Telegraph's Associate Political Editor, Tony Diver, and the Editor-in-Chief of NationalWorld.com, Nancy Fielder. Amongst the stories we'll be discussing, this on the front of the Liverpool Echo, which calls the late footballer Diogo Jota forever our number 20. We'll be right back.